Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's countdown. This is day 45. The election's coming up. It's so close. I'm glad you're here. Let's get started. We're down to just 45 days into the election. Can you believe it? 45 days. And that's a key point in the election. And I'll explain to you why later on. But one of the things I want to talk about, what our expectations are. Because a lot of us are feeling really nervous about what is going on in the election. And we don't know exactly what to expect. But I want to give you some idea of what you can expect in this election. Because the Republicans have set it up so that it's not clear and cut and dry. And that all has to do with Pennsylvania and counting the votes in Georgia as well. So counting the votes in Pennsylvania and Georgia is going to take a while. Instead of having the results on election night, that's not going to happen. And that's not going to happen because that's the way Republicans want it. And Republicans want it that way because they want you to have doubts in the election. But I want to clear the air for you guys. For all of you at home right now, I want to let you know something. Harris is going to win, okay? And Harris is going to win because the Republicans made a mistake in putting up really bad people around the country up for election. And the two most pivotal states, pivotal, is North Carolina and Pennsylvania. Those two states are absolutely pivotal in what happens in the election. And I think we've gone over what happened with Mark Robinson, the lieutenant governor that's running for governor. He's in all kinds of trouble, all kinds of hot water, and people don't like him. Well, that's in North Carolina, and every vote is going to count in North Carolina. And right now, as of today, 45 days out, guess what? Harris is in the lead. And in 45 days, that's not going away. The FBI isn't going to start an investigation and save Republicans again. That's not going to happen. So with 45 days left, you can kind of count on what's going to happen. And right now, her lead is actually growing in North Carolina. Same thing in Pennsylvania. Everybody's been so nervous about Pennsylvania. But Pennsylvania is about organization. It's about ground game. It's about knocking on doors, getting on the phone, getting out the vote. And who do you think has been doing that big time in Pennsylvania? Yeah, it's been Harris. Harris has 40,000 volunteers knocking on doors and doing everything that needs to be done to win the state. And if you start to put those two states in her column, it just leaves Trump with no real path. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. You know, if you're not a subscriber yet, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the alert buttons and whistles and all that stuff. But make sure you come back because we're going to be counting down for the next 45 days all the way to election. And if you're voting for Harris, I want you to feel confident because I already know what's out there. I saw a poll today from the New York Times that nationwide they're in a dead heat, 47 to 47%. And, you know, hey, New York Times, come here. You're crazy. If you think anyone believes that nationwide, it's a tie, 47 to 47. When Democrats won last time, Biden, 8 million more votes than Donald Trump last time. 8 million. And if you remember correctly, 81 million said, bye-bye, you're fired. Yeah, Trump was sitting in the White House when 81 million said, you're fired. Get out now. So somehow, and if you know how, if you know the way that this can happen, Because I'm sure there's some Republicans listening to this right now. Republicans, tell me, how did he make up 8 million votes? How? Where? He didn't. That's the point. He didn't. So where are people getting 47 from? I mean, you talk about just ridiculousness. That has us believing that, oh, yep, Trump lost by 8 million votes, but this time he's closer. He's like really, really close. And I want you guys to understand, a lot of these polls are not real polls. They are, generated for Republicans to feel better, because everything now is about trying to steal the election for Republicans. Republicans know they can't win. They can't win a fair election. They know that. They don't have the votes. They want to go to court and claim, the ballots are wrong. The counting machine is wrong. No, we've been doing this for a long time, and you just don't have the votes. You guys are going to keep losing, and you're going to particularly keep losing because now you messed with women. Yeah, you made a really, really big, to all the Republicans out there, let me tell you something. You made a huge mistake. Yeah, you messed with women, and you messed with women's body autonomy. I mean, the government should have no say. I mean, a woman should have the right to privacy and make her own choices with her own doctor. Yeah, they don't need you getting involved in things. But see, that's why they're not going to win another election. A presidential election? Yeah, you can't win one. Because women know if you get back in the White House, they put Trump in the White House once, and look what happened. 3 Supreme Court judges, we won't touch Roe versus Wade. Gone that fast. So, look, this election is down to its last 45 days. If you're counting on some big, major, huge surprise, I just don't see it in the near future. But what I do see is a very, very blue pattern developing. I mean, with the 4 states that she has locked in, I mean, when you have North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin locked in, there's just no way for Donald Trump to get to 270. She's already there. She's already at 270. So that's why it's going to be so important. Do me a favor. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but if I did, I want to mention it again. Watch Virginia. Virginia is going to come in very quickly. And I want you to pay attention to Virginia, because when the numbers come in, if there's a bigger spread than 10 points, say 54 to 44, if it's more like 58 to 48 or 47 or something like that, if there's a bigger margin, something like 12 or 13, maybe 14%, yeah, that spells big, big doom. So watch Virginia, because last time it was 54-44. This time, if it's like 57 or 58 to 43 or 42, if there's a bigger spread there, that can tell you what's going to happen on the rest of the night. That can tell you, look out, it's going to be an ugly night for Trump. But, let me know what you guys think. We got a lot more to talk about. I want to move on to the next subject. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Texas and Florida. We got to talk about Texas and Florida. 45 days out. We're 45 days out, and we got to talk about Texas and Florida. We have to talk about Texas and Florida because they have the ability to turn blue. I've been saying T-Fang, Texas, Florida, Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, T-Fang. And Latinos have the ability to turn Texas and Florida blue. But Florida has the abortion subject on the ticket this time. And also, it has marijuana on the ticket. So I just think that Florida has a real strong chance of going blue. And Texas, I know. I know what you're saying. You know, a lot of Republicans say, "Oh, it'll never go blue." Oh, yes, it is. It's just a matter of when. And like I said, when women and Latinos get together and decide it's going blue, it's going blue. You know, and I just wonder. And let me know what you guys think. Do you think the women of Texas and Florida have had enough? Do you think they've had enough of being treated like second-class citizens? Because I don't know what it is, but I just don't think women like being told what to do. And that's exactly what they seem to want to do in Texas and Florida. They want to tell women what to do, and Texas wants to start monitoring your pregnancy and monitoring where you travel. Are you joking? Is this what you signed up for? Is this the America that you want? That the minute you get pregnant, the federal government starts monitoring where you go? Yeah, I just don't think that's where this country's heading. And that's the other thing. You know, I've already not spoken enough about Kamala Harris. I think I've talked so much about everything else that I haven't focused on her at all. And I'm doing her a disservice. Because she has, I don't know if you guys sense it or feel it, but since her hat was thrown in the ring, since President Biden stepped out and she stepped in, and think about that for a minute. Think about that for a minute. You go from not running for president of the United States to running to the most powerful office in the world. And everybody wants a piece of her. Answer this question, do this interview, do this debate, do this, do that. And here she's thinking to herself, I have an entire campaign to do. You know, I have to go state by state, city by city. And you guys are worried about me doing a sit-down interview. Really? Really? You know, it doesn't make any sense. You know, being a good president it's complicated. It's really complicated because, you know, your decisions many times for other people is life and death. Yeah, I mean, that's, when you stop and think about that, think about having to do that multiple times a day. Think about that, you know, multiple times a day. The words that are coming out of your mouth decide whether someone's going to live or die. I don't think we look at that enough. And I don't think we, you know, value the ability of someone to critically think. And the presidency is the ultimate in a job where you have to have critical thought. You have to really be able to gather information and process that information and be able to come out with a good result and a good conclusion. And how does anyone think that's a good idea for Donald Trump? I mean, that guy couldn't make good decisions on his vodka company, on his airline, on his stock, on his steak company. I mean, one thing after another that has failed and failed again and failed again. And now we think it's a good idea. A guy that doesn't even read, we think it's a good idea to put him into a job that requires so much critical thought, so much. And not only that, just the ability to listen to others. I can't tell you how many times I heard Bill Clinton or Obama say, you know, many times I had to just sit and listen to the experts around me and let all that information just soak in. Both of them said that, you know, and that is really, I can't impress upon you guys how, you know, being a leader is not about leading all the time. You know, being an effective leader is sometimes knowing when to sit back and let your team step forward. Let your team that your team of experts take the front, and you sit back and just kind of monitor things, because leadership is a complicated thing. Everybody thinks it's about being out front and being the loudest and the strongest, and yeah, that's not always the case. I always believed that leadership, I always felt like I was doing a great job as a leader if nobody knew I was leading. I always felt like that was the best report card I ever got, was that if people just didn't feel that they were being led, but they were positive in the journey, but they didn't feel like they were being led. And I think, to me, that's the ultimate in leadership. But let me know what you guys think. I bring it up because I think a 60-year-old intelligent prosecutor, attorney general, senator, vice president, I just think she's the right person at this time for that job. And a nearly 80-year-old man, who many people say isn't even fit to be in the office. Many of his own people that he said he would hire the best people, well, those best people say, he should never be in the White House again, including generals. So, I think critical thought is really important. And I think Kamala Harris has what is necessary at these times. And I'm very, very glad and very hopeful she's going to be our next president. Very glad. But let me know what you guys think. There's a lot more to talk about. We still have more to get into. And I want to tell you guys about the T-Fang shirts. We have T-Fang shirts that are going to be available. I will talk about the website and all that stuff at a later date. This is the wrap on show 45 day out show. Tomorrow will be 44, then 43 and 42. So join me every single day for the countdown. And if you need more, I gotta tell you a secret. I'm over on TikTok all the time. All the time. So if you want to see me more, go over to TikTok. Have a great day, everybody. And don't forget, tomorrow, we'll see you tomorrow. Countdown day 44. We'll see you later.